All right, so we've been in Arizona for 17 days, and we worked our asses off for 15 of the 17 days. We made it a point to take 1 day a week, and because we had my son with me and my wife, and have a family day. I think that's important. So a lot of you out there are probably like me, really passionate about real estate and grinding and putting 100% in. But I recently learned not everybody's like that for one, but so you have to, especially if you have a family. And I also listened to Tony Robbins recently, and I started incorporating a lot of those type of videos into my research as far as real estate, and I think that's important. I've been 100% real estate for since April of last year, and if you have a family or a significant other or other people in your life, it can consume you, which it's consumed me. Which I'm not saying it's bad. It's just for your family or others, you need to make room for them as well. So anyway, and I'll touch on that briefly. So we went down to Arizona. We bought a house and our second investment property. And then while we were there, we accidentally bought a third. For those of you who've been watching the videos, you've seen the walkthroughs, but they're both in Phoenix, North Phoenix, east of the 17. One of was purchased right off the MLS. This is the one I'd mentioned that I had under contract twice. So we furnished it. The construction was done. We got it furnished. Pictures taken. It's up and running now online. We have a member in there actually already. And the other house we bought was live when we bought it, and it had three members. We lost one, and now a third is coming in on the ninth. So that one has three. This one already has one, and then our existing co-living house has seven of the eight. So we're about half occupancy out of the 24 units. I think we're at what's that work out to be? 10, right? No, 11. Well, once the guy moves in on the ninth. So not even halfway full. But that's okay because we've got the holding cost to handle it for a significant amount of time. So it was worth the risk. We hadn't planned on buying the third house. We planned on buying the second and then taking it slow because when I went to the ORAT, the One Rental at a Time conference, Dion McNeely from Dion Talk, lumberjack landlord, I'm actually wearing a shirt right now, had told me, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So I was trying to adhere to that. And also, Chad, Coach Carson had mentioned the same thing about, hey, slow down. I know you're eager, you want to go, but you're going to learn a lot along the way. The best way it was ever explained to me was Coach Carson. He said this. He said, look, if you went out and bought 10 houses tomorrow and you learned you made a mistake, you just made that mistake 10 times. Whereas if you went out and bought one house, made that mistake, you just avoided that mistake and paying for it 9 times, which made total sense to me. But the reason we bought the third house was it was a pretty good deal. It wasn't my normal buy box. It's actually a two-story with not the parking that I wanted, but it's in a decent location with enough parking. It had enough, but it was a good deal. And so another investor had purchased it with hard money, tried another play, and it didn't work for him. And I had a 50-50 shot that it wasn't going to work for me either. They wanted me to get another hard money loan, buy it from them, and close on it in 10 days. And I said, no, I won't do that. I will get a DSCR loan and we'll try to make it work in 12 days because I had met a broker that I thought that could get it done, and she did. But what we did is, well, the house, its current state was, it was an 8 bedroom, 3 bath. And so for anybody that's tried to buy something like this, there's no comps for anything like that. So if you're trying to get a loan on it, it's a little weird. And so it was a risk, but we paid for the inspection, paid for the appraisal, a rushed appraisal. So we're into it about, I don't know, $1,800. So it was an $1,800 risk. And I put down the 4650 for earnest money that we could get back, but if things went south. But it was let's say 2 grand risk. So we did it. I flew down there and I took numbers off of, because this was already set up as a co-living. It was going to be for a business type of a play. I think they were trying to originally do professional housing or corporate housing, something like that. And then they switched it up to the pad split, but by then the person just wanted out. They had another deal they wanted to do, so they wanted to get out of it and get out of their hard money loan. So I put it under contract and flew down there and took the numbers off all the doors and took all the labels off all the kitchen counters, refrigerators, all that stuff. Got rid of all the co-living look-alike stuff. And judge me if you will, but that's what I did. And then I staged up 3 of the rooms. One is an office, one is a den, and one is like a daylight room. And it worked. The appraisal came in as it was actually a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. I was trying to shoot for a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, but they said there was 2 dens, which is fine by me. So anyway, the lender gave us the loan, and we got the house. And then right after that, found out the AC didn't work. So I called the seller, and they gave us $2K concessions on that, which was cool. So we ended up paying, it was $7,000 for the new AC, new 5-ton. Now this is a 2-story house. So we had to make in Arizona. So we had to make sure that, the AC is top notch, because you don't want to be having members or attendants, members, whatever you call them, in a house, sweating to death, and that's not safe anyway. So we put a brand new 5-ton unit. And it cost us $5,000 out of pocket, because again they gave us $2K concessions. So we got the house. We walked in $30,000 equity, so that was great. It appraised $30,000 over what we paid for it, and we had 3 members in it, so it was not cash flowing, but income was coming in from it right away. Now we haven't even made our first payment as far as mortgage payment on the house yet. We don't do that till June 1st, so that's great. Now switching gears to the other house. Now this was already furnished, but we didn't like some of the furnishing. So you'll see in the video, in the past videos, that we took out some of the wardrobes, put in different wardrobes, moved some beds around, bought a queen. One of the members is 6'3", I think, something like that. Trying to sleep on a full. So the queen was a little bit bigger. So we did that. Also bought him a special wardrobe, and got him some computer stand type stuff, so he can have his printer. Just trying to have a good service, because that's what this is. It's a service. A lot of people think that this is housing, which it is, but it's also, in my mind, more kind of a service as well. So the house didn't have any fire alarms in it. So by the way, I'm doing this for people that want to learn from what I've done or am doing, but it's also for me to look back on later. So it's kind of a twofer. So these videos will be for me, maybe kind of long. So fast forward or skip them all together, but that's the way I'm doing it. So the Kathleen house, which is the 3rd house we bought, didn't have any fire alarms in it. Also, one of the rooms we noticed was really hot. And so after inspecting it further, we noticed that in the closet, they didn't put the cover back on the access to the attic, which was making that room really hot. So we put that back on, simply fixed it. We installed cameras in the house. We put a fire extinguisher in the kitchen, bought another refrigerator. We bought stackable 2 sets of washers and dryers, brand new stackable. So that way people have, 2, it's a redundant, but also if somebody leaves their clothes in the wash, then it's not that big of a deal. They can just use the other one. So that was nice. Had the contractors go through and fix, things here and there, install outlets for the cameras. I installed the Ring doorbell. I like the Ring. I have Rings on all the properties. I have the same cameras, the Wyze cameras. They're $33 a piece. They pan and tilt. So I can go to one web page and see all the houses at once, and I have the same manufacturer, and I keep a spare on hand in case one of them goes down. Same thing with the locks. I use the Sifely locks. They worked out great for me. The Sifely, Sifely, the links are in the description of the video. But I have those on all the houses, and they're great. I use the gateway with them to remotely manage them. If I need a contractor that comes in, I can remote in on the app and give them a code so they can get in. And then when I have turnover, I can simply delete the old code and put in a new code. What I do is, what I think I'll do is I'll do a video and show the layout of all 3 houses, if people want to see that. That way you can see how I've structured everything. Being an Intel, I like systems, I like organization, I like simplicity, not just for myself, but also in the future, if I do hand this over to a property manager, it'll be simple, or my wife has to do something. I use Loom videos to document things as I go, and that way it's fairly simple to manage. And I guess what I'll do also is I'll go over in another video some of the finances. I'll touch on that briefly. So we have 3 houses now, 2 of which were purchased right off the MLS. Another was purchased off market. Two of them are DSCRs. One of them's a personal loan or private loan or primary residence loan, whatever you want to call it. And they're doing fairly well, I think. One of them, the first one we started off with, is like on average had more, 7. We've been not full for a whole month yet, but it's still cash flows fine. The other two are too new to tell, but like I said, we've got the holding costs. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the work involved. For people that are interested in getting to co-living, there's a significant amount of work if you're doing it yourself, and even if you don't. The person I bought this from had paid a company to come in and furnish it, and I think he said he spent like 10 grand, and that's great. I mean, they put beds in there and they put art on the walls and they put, I guess, wardrobes up, but they weren't, in my opinion, sufficient enough. So we had swapped out some beds, changed out the art. There was like old lady flower art in all the rooms, which is, I guess if you have old ladies in the house, that's great, but it didn't fit what we thought was nice. So my wife went and shopped all over Arizona and swapped out a lot of art. And also the wardrobes, like I said, we changed those out to something a little more substantial. But I don't recommend buying 2 houses and having to furnish them at once. I mean, I know it's a no-brainer, but it sucked, especially when you had a 2-week timeline and you have your son with you. So, but we did it, and we got it all done. So anyway, that's a quick update of where we're at. 3 houses, 7 in one, 3 in another, soon to be 3. There's 2 now, and only 1 member in the 26th house. So that's the update. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.